had any remaining doubts about what exactly is driving Republican efforts to reform welfare, then I've got the final piece of evidence that you should ever require. Let's go to Kansas, where the legislature has sent a bill to Governor Sam Brownback, also a Republican. In it, recipients of the state's Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program would only be able to withdraw $25 a day with their benefits cards from ATMs, which act much like debit cards. No other states or the federal government currently limits withdrawals. Now, you might have heard in the media over the past week or two some of the other limitations that this bill would put in place on those who currently benefit from various welfare programs inside of Kansas. Things like not being able to buy seafood, not being able to buy candy or steaks, or various other foods that are seen as luxuries in 2015, I suppose. They also limit exactly where you can use your cards. You can't do it in movie theaters, nail salons, pools, spas, liquor stores, jewelry stores, anywhere where someone might possibly crack a smile. You're not allowed to use your debit card, even if it's to buy regular food or something like that. There's a number of other limitations as well. After 36 months, poor people would hit the lifetime limit in that state and not be able to get any further benefits unless they could prove they had an extraordinary hardship such as sexual assault, in which case they could get an additional 12 months. That's how merciful. The federal lifetime limit, on the other hand, is actually 5 years, so significantly longer. It also bans anyone with 2 felony drug convictions from ever getting welfare. And understand that we are still operating with our current approach in the war on drugs, where people do still go to jail for consuming and possessing drugs like marijuana, not just for selling them or intending to distribute them. So you could potentially be cut off from federal and state welfare in Kansas if you simply possess marijuana. That isn't a possibility. And before I go back to the horror of that first limitation, just how ridiculous and offensive it is, I want to talk overall about some of the changes in welfare. Now, understand that the amount that you get from these programs has been locked for a long time, which means that as inflation has affected it, you've lost out on a significant portion of that money. It's now worth 28% less than it was a couple of decades ago. But because of that, many states, including Kansas, have been doing whatever they can to knock as many people as they can off of the rolls. Now, just to compare, today, just 26% of eligible poor families receive welfare, down from 72% in 1996. So, in less than 2 decades, almost 3 in 4 families used to be eligible for welfare and actually get it. Now, it's more like 1 in 4. And so these efforts have been incredibly successful in knocking people off of those rolls. Now, because of this, if you talk to Brownback or you talk to the legislature, they'll say that the reason that they're doing it is to save money. But then you have to question why they're setting up these expensive drug testing programs that cost a ton of money to the taxpayers, but turn up almost nothing. In Kansas, they have a program that only found 11 positive drug tests out of 2,783 different applications. So they can say all they want that it's about the money. Watch Brownback, watch the different things that he approves. Other Republicans in the Senate that are trying to change welfare on a federal level. Think about the different things they spend money on and are perfectly fine with, but not so much with welfare. And so my final judgment, my personal final judgment on this, is that fundamentally this has almost nothing to do with money. That is a scapegoat at best. This has to do with humiliation. It has to do with degradation. It has to do with telling people you can't use your federal benefits in certain places, on certain types of food, and now you can't even use more than $25 per day. And remember, these aren't just people who are going in there to buy $10 worth of milk on a day. Many people need these resources to pay for rent, which means that you would have to start deducting money weeks in advance to pay for your rent. They want you to be reminded every single day how much you owe them and how much you owe the government. This is about humiliation, not money, and that's my final judgment.